Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Delia Lex. So today I have a story time for you all, and this is the story of how I got 80 stitches to kiss a boy. I know it sounds ridiculous, just stay tuned, you have to listen to the story. Okay, so it was it was a Friday actually, right? And I was in the room with my friends and we were all eating Chinese food. My friends Monet and Johnny, and I think, no, it was just Monet and Johnny. I live in a boarding school, so we all live there. Like I said, it's a boarding school. And we were all there waiting just for things to happen. It was a Friday night, it was pretty warm. And I get a text from my boo. He wasn't really my boo, I just was like in love with him. I liked him so much. He was my friend, and I told him that I liked him earlier that year. And he was like, well, I don't really like you. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we can still be friends. So we were friends. And my boo texts me and he's like, hey, let's hang out tonight. And we always used to hang out like at night. We used to go on like walks and stuff like that. And when I was a sophomore, and like this is when I liked him, this is sophomore year, I was like, oh my gosh, he asked to hang out, like something's gonna happen, right? So I was like, yeah, sure. And then all my friends were calling me a hoe because she's like, why are you leaving us to go out with the boy? And I was like, I don't know, guys, like, you know, I like him, that's who I want to talk to, whatever. I'm literally embarrassed myself because he's gonna see this and know exactly who I'm talking about. So I used to wear like slippers out like as shoes for some reason because it's a boarding school, it's a small campus. So like if I was running to like the cafeteria, I'd put on like slippers. So I used to wear a lot of slippers, but I was like, let me not wear slippers, it's gonna be good night, I'm gonna wear my Toms. So this was back when everyone used to wear Toms, and I had these black sparkle Toms, and they were kind of worn out, but like not really worn out because I don't wear worn out shoes. I just kind of wore them a lot. So I put on my Toms, and I had these dark blue jeans that I loved. And then this is back when that little cross t-shirt thing was the style. So I had this like gray cross shirt with the crucifix on it. And then this was also when I started getting into lipstick. So I had this like ugly wine lipstick I got from Sephora, and I used to wear bandanas. So it was like a black bandana around my head. This is how I used to dress. It's a sophomore year. So I got all cute, you know, powdered my face. I was like, I'm gonna go see my boo. So he picks me up at my door and we start walking, and we walk past the school building. And we're like, that's weird. The light is on in the school building. He's like, let's go check it out. Me being the girl that I went inside with him. So we go in the school building, we're in like the foyer, and we're just sitting down and we're talking. I'm just looking at him like, oh my gosh, my heart. And then I hear a sound, and I was like, do you hear that? And he was just like, no, you're being paranoid. I was like, ableist, but do you hear that? Like there's somebody there. He was like, no, you're imagining things. And I was like, okay. So we keep talking and we keep talking, and then we hear the sound again. And then he hears it, right? So we both hearing the sound. It's not just in my head. And then we get really quiet, and we both look to the corner, and then we see the dean of students coming out of a staircase, right? And this is like 10:30 at night. 11 was like in warm, so we were technically not out at like an inappropriate time. We were not supposed to be in the school building. So we see his leg coming up the stairs, and we book up the staircase, and the whole rest of the school building was like pitch black. So he's running and I'm following him. He played soccer. I played soccer too, but he was varsity. I was varsity too, but I just didn't work as hard. So I was like training a little bit, and he runs into like the teacher's lounge, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he ran too far. But I stupidly went to the teacher's lounge with him. And he's like, we went too far, we missed the other staircase. I was like, okay, let's go back to the staircase. So we ran down the other staircase, 3 flights of stairs. We get to the bottom level, and I'm like, maybe he really isn't following us, but we're still running. And then I turn around, and the teacher was like, wait, stop right there. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we keep running. So I'm going to show you guys a picture of what my school looks like. This is a plaza. If you look at this little hill with the grass, I see the hill, and then I see the staircase, right? And we're running, and it was raining earlier that day. And like I said, if you remember, I was wearing Toms. And the Toms had like a very flat surface, and the shoes were worn out too, so they were not reliable. So it's raining, or was raining, the grass is wet. So I'm like, should I run down the grass and slip, or should I just go down the staircase, right? So at this point, Jack is like, that's his name, Jack. Jack is like halfway down the hill on the way to the dorms, like running to the dorms. And then I'm like, pause, I'm going to run down the staircase. So I'm running down the staircase, or I get towards the staircase, and I see the staircase, and I'm like, I'm just gonna jump, because, you know, I'm not gonna be able to do the whole staircase. So I stupidly jump. Obviously I fell, but it's like, I went back to the place after I fell, and it was like, the distance from the staircase to where I hit my head was so large that I must have like jumped and then flew, and then like jumped again, and then like flown, and then I smashed my head into like cemented brick at the side of the plaza, right? So I'm there and I scream Jack's name. That's the name of the guy. I'm like, Jack. And Jack did not hear me, so he says. I didn't hear me, he just didn't want to help. I was like, Jack. Jack does not come to my rescue. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what if the teacher's still following me? So I get up and I keep running. So I get to outside of the student lounge where all the students were, and I knew that the teacher's office was. So I was like, let me catch my breath, let me go in and act normal. So I go into the student lounge and I sit down, and this kid walks by me. I remember it was Raymond, and he was, no, it wasn't Raymond. Doesn't matter. Maybe it was Jason. Doesn't matter who it was. And he was like, Adele, what happened to your face? I was like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, sit down, sit down. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I looked down and there was blood all over my legs, my knees, my jeans were ripped open, my toms were torn apart. There was blood on my sweater, blood dripping down from my face, scratches. And then when I pulled my sweater out, there was blood all over the collar. This is literally not funny, but it's funny to think about now. So there was blood all over me, and then I started screaming. So they called the school nurse and they called 911, and I got into the ambulance and I was like, okay, I'm gonna die, like I'm dying. I started praying, and then I wanted to relieve myself. So I was like, oh, what's your name, to the guy working in the ambulance, and he was like, oh, my name is Jack. Jack, the same name of the guy that freaking left me when I fell. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just stayed quiet on this because I was so mad. So we got to the hospital and the nurse was there with me and her husband was there too. They were checking me out and they were like, oh, da 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 da. And then the doctor came and he asked me, or was it a nurse? Someone asked me if anything happened, if I wanted a priest to come pray with me. So I was like, oh, so I really am dying. And then for a little slow second, I felt this sense of peace, because I was like, I'm dying, I can't do anything about it, so I'll just lie here and die. And I mean, I obviously wasn't dying, I was just being dramatic, and I was asking everyone for a mirror to see my face because I knew that something had happened to my face, but I don't know, I just wanted a mirror to see my face. So pretty much I fell asleep, which you're not supposed to do after concussions, and I woke up and my dad was there, and my dad was crying because he cries about stuff like that. He was really sad, and my uncle was there, and we were all really sad. And then, I had my stitches done, 80 stitches, internal and external, and I could not open my eye. I had a bruise over my eye, a bruise on my cheek that I still have. I cover up with makeup, and then my stitches scar here, if you guys can see, and they were bright blue stitches too. And I didn't go to school for a week. So before my stitches, they put me in an MRI, and I had clip-ins, and they were like, oh, is there any metal anywhere on you? I'm like, other than my earrings? No. And I was like, oh damn, I have clip-ins. So the guy had to take my hair out, and I had a little bald spot there already because it's something that they did. A part of my hair came out, so it was too sensitive for me to get hair done again. So I just started wrapping my hair up in a scarf. My friend's laughing at me. This is literally not funny. I wrapped my hair up in a scarf, and I couldn't get my hair done for 2 months because of the nerve damage. I still have nerve damage in my head. So I had to wrap my hair up in a scarf for 2 months because I couldn't get a weave. And this was the week before our finals, right? So I had to go back to school for finals, and everyone was like, what the freak happened to your face? And there were rumors that my teeth fell out and my tooth chipped. They were like, let me see your teeth. And I'm like, it's just a tooth, it's a chip, that's tooth, it's nothing real, whatever. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, your face, your face. I'm like, I know. And it sucks because before that I was like, yeah, I'm cute, but I'm not the bombest, whatever. And then after that I was like, I was so cute. Now I'm not cute. And it took me a while to get used to my face. And the guy that I was with, he called me the day after I got back from the hospital, and he was like, oh, I heard that you fell. And I was like, okay. And he was like, when I first heard about it, I didn't know that it was serious, so I kind of laughed about it. And I was like, what? And he was like, no, I heard that you fell. Someone came up to me and was like, Adele fell. And then we started laughing, and they were like, no, but it's serious. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, why would you even laugh at the fact that I fell? Ladies, do not be hanging out with guys that do not like you enough to care about whether or not you fell or care about whether or not you yelled their name when you fall. Literally, it's ridiculous. So after that, my mother told me that I was never allowed to speak to him again because I lied and told her I was just playing around and I fell, but she knew the truth. She knew I was being thirsty, so she was like, you're not allowed to speak to him anymore. That's a done deal. And I was like, okay. Definitely saw him that summer though, and he was definitely my friend for the rest of high school, but it wasn't the same. And yeah, so that's my story. And the funny thing is, when I got back to school the following year for my junior year, the guy that was chasing us, I went to his office the first day we got back, And we were like talking because I didn't see him when I came back before because I was only there to take my exams and I left. And he's like, yeah, you know, if you hadn't have fallen, you would have been expelled. And I was like, why? And he was like, because you were in the school building. You're not supposed to be in the school building. I was like, okay, you know? So it's kind of like everything happens for a reason, you know? Like, it's like I fell for a reason because, well, not really technically, because if I would never have fallen, then I would have never been expelled because I would have never been in the school building. But, okay, there are 3 lessons that you can learn from the story. Okay, lesson number 1, like I said, don't go hanging around a guy that doesn't like you enough to care about whether you fell or not. Lesson two, don't think that you can jump and fall and make it, especially if you're not like a jumper. If you're not like an athletic person like me, you're not going to break your fall every time you do it. And lesson 3, what is my 3rd lesson? And my 3rd lesson, I guess, would be, let's just all make smarter decisions, honestly. That was one of my dumb decisions. I definitely have other dumb decisions after that, but that was probably the first step towards dumb decisions. So I hope you all enjoyed my story time. And if you have any questions, or if you don't even believe my story, I'll probably put a picture after this of what it looked like afterwards, and you guys can just really see this was really my life. And have a great day.